HOLLYS F&B is one of Korea's coffee franchises with the longest history of doing business in the country. I sat down with HOLLYS F&B's CEO, Chul, who says he's now eyeing a much bigger market overseas. So thank you very much for making time for us today. And you have a very unique or different, I should say, work experience before joining HOLLYS. You're an accountant, a consultant, an M&A expert. How does that kind of experience make your current job at HOLLYS different?
I didn't just move companies, but I've had drastic career changes. They were big changes. It was like a process for me to find things I wanted to do for a living and make my dreams come true. Being a former accountant helps me to be earnings-based. Being a former business consultant helps me to make future-orientated plans. Being a former CEO helps me make responsible decisions. And on top of all that, I think it's truly a dream come true that I run a company that makes coffee I love.
So since you joined HOLLYS back in 2009, what are some of the major changes that you brought to HOLLYS that we are seeing right now? What are some of the focal points in your management?
2008 was a year that Korea saw an advent of many new Korean coffee brands. We saw a huge expansion in the industry when we needed to deliver core value of the business to our customers. There were some companies that seemed quite successful on the back of excessive marketing and store expansion. But I made a decision to focus on the basics and a long-term direction for the company. So I concentrated on three factors. I focused on coffee, I focused on building infrastructure that was necessary to manage our franchises more effectively, and I also focused on customers, bearing in mind the brand of HOLLYS Coffee that began in 1998. HOLLYS Coffee also created a roasting system that is perhaps the biggest in scale in Korea. We also operate a bakery factory and our own distribution system so that our franchisees are well supported. We also teach about coffee in a coffee academy.
So did all that translate into numbers? How much of growth are you seeing?
That's a very good point. Sales of HOLLYS Coffee jumped about 150% in 2012 compared to 2009. And in terms of operating profit, HOLLYS Coffee grew by 240 to 250%. I would like to say that a performance like that in 3 years is pretty significant.
In the Korea market, we cannot deny that foreign brands are still leading in terms of sales. Do you see any reasons for that?
Korea is perhaps the only country in the world that has homegrown coffee brands that do way better than foreign global brands. It may seem like foreign brands have stronger sales because of the sheer number of Korean brands in the market, but overall, if you take the sum of Korean coffee brands altogether, Korean players are doing very well. It's true that foreign global brands have longer history and higher brand recognition. On the other hand, Korean customers follow short-term trends and their own personal preference, regardless of the nationality of coffee brands.
I feel like we have enough coffee stores by now here in Korea. I mean, I walk out of one coffee store and I see 2 or 3 just around the corner. Do we still have more room to grow here in Korea?
It's true that we see many clusters of coffee franchises, but in my personal opinion, it hasn't reached saturation point yet. Coffee stores in business districts always do well, and even in other areas, I still see potential of growing more. I heard Korea's coffee consumption is only at 60% of Japan's. I still see the potential of bringing that level up to 80 or 90%. Last year, I went to Japan for market research and noticed that some 60% of customers at a coffee shop that has a long tradition were people in their 50s and 60s. I think that's Korea's future. If coffee is something that people like because it gives them comfort, although it's nothing new, then I think it's premature to say that the coffee franchise industry in Korea is saturated.
How about overseas markets? Is that more promising for your firm or other Korean competitors?
I certainly see more potential for growth in overseas markets, but at this point, HOLLYS Coffee is not targeting the European or US markets. We see potential of exponential growth in markets where the Korean wave is effectively at work. They are China, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, just to name a few. I think we have to make presence in these markets.
What are some of the other strengths that HOLLYS can offer to overseas consumers compared to other Korean competitors or other overseas players?
제가 중국 예를 들게요.
Let's take China for example. Currently, there are 2 HOLLYS coffee stores in China. And what I learned is that factors like store designs can be copied, but Korean employees' customer service cannot. I think it will take some time for our foreign competitors to pick that up. We also do product placement for marketing and learned that fans of Korean celebrities have a great yearning to drink the same beverage at the same store that their favorite stars go to. China's population is at around 1.3 billion, and the country is going through a rapid urbanization process. But Starbucks, for example, only has 400 stores in China, which is the same number of stores it has in Korea. China is going to be an enormous market for HOLLYS coffee.
Just last year, you actually signed a master franchise agreement with China that's worth about $1 million. How ambitious are you? What are some of the target goals within what time frame?
저희가 작년에 매장 2개 열고.
Our partner in China is a very big firm that's located in Guangdong province and is quite aggressively pushing for coffee-related culture projects as well. We are currently working on interior design at 6 stores in China. You can expect a total of 30 HOLLYS coffee stores in China this year and 100 by the end of next year. As for a longer-term goal, I would like to grow HOLLYS coffee to become #1 in China.
Do you feel the need to localize your products or stores in the Chinese market? What are you reading about the China market?
네, 저희 중국 시장과 관련해서 저희가
We studied the China market very hard and we've established some principles. We put the elements that characterize HOLLYS coffee into 2 groups, some that we must keep and others that we need to localize. Taste of our coffee is to keep as is. And we are keeping interior design and store atmosphere the same as well. Chinese people love the color red and they think it's something prestigious, and that certainly helps our brand image. Frontline employees also get month-long customer service training. But for our side menu items, we feel the need to localize our products to better fit the taste buds of the Chinese.
I wonder if you are reading any particular lifestyle trends that you are seeing or anticipating down the road that would be relevant for your coffee business.
실제로는 한국에서 좀
What I'm focusing on is how our customers are feeling. I think they must feel the need to get away from their daily routines and hustle and bustle of city life. So I think a lot about what they need. I think that our customers these days just want an hour or 2 of quiet away in their own space compared to the past where they preferred longer vacations.
Where can we see you or HOLLYS, say, in 5 years or 10 years from now?
저는 5년, 10년 후
I don't want to think only about 5 or 10 years from now. I think that I need to grow HOLLYS Coffee into a company with a history of 100 years. It's hard to imagine what HOLLYS Coffee will look like in 5 to 10 years from now, because a company is just like an organism. But I would like to think that we'll be creating the value that our customers want.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Great conversation today. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.